You can live in France, but you can never become a Frenchman. One of the worst people in history said this, but he was kind of right. So, hi, I've been in Paris for a year now. I've graduated, I've gone home and come back, and basically where I'm at in my life right now just feels like I'm living in between two places. In the sense that there's me as a student and there's me as an employee, or there's me as an American and there's me as a transplant in Europe. And I feel like I have so many polarizing identities in my life, and I'm to a point now where I don't know if I am the European version of me or if I'm the Kansas homegrown version of me. And it's been so easy my whole entire life to kind of exist across so many different places. I feel like it's a superpower as a child of divorce. Like when you're traveling between houses every week or every weekend, you kind of are wired to expect the change and want the change, crave the change. But I just wonder how long I can keep splitting myself up for. How many times can I divide myself until I'm no longer the most substantial version of myself? I guess in this in between point in my life, the one thing I'm really craving is to just have ownership over who I am and to be able to be one complete whole me. So that brings me to the idea of you can live in France, but you can never become a Frenchman. And I've been feeling so lonely, and I've been feeling so alien, and it's so different, just living here post-grad, not having a job to go to, not having a school to go to, not having a built-in sense of purpose. Because for the first 8 months that I was here, I never really had feelings like this, and now I feel so profoundly confused. I talked on the phone with my dad the other day, which is something I very rarely do, and for some reason I was just honest. I've been trying to figure out if I want to stay in France, or if I want to stay in Europe, or if I want to go home. But for so long I've been so sure that what I want to do is be here, and I've fed my parents so much propaganda to convince them that Europe is the pinnacle of society, and yeah, it kind of is most of the time. But my dad was telling me how I had convinced him that he needs to move here and all of this stuff, and I just told him that's great and all, but the way I'm feeling now is that there's something to be said for the fact that I'll always be from Kansas City. At the end of the day, I can move wherever I want. I can live in Paris, I can live in Copenhagen, but I don't know if I will ever feel as rooted and connected as I do when I'm at home. And I go back and forth on this. Some days when I make a new friend here, or I'm just around a lot of people, I feel like I really do belong, but it is just different. And I wonder, do these people really look at me and can they genuinely see me as their equal? Whereas at home, I know people move the same way I do, people talk the same way I do. They don't necessarily think the same way I do all the time, but they have the same process, I think. We just come to different outcomes. And there's the threat of the Trump administration overturning gay marriage right now. And there's two sides to this. Obviously I don't want to be there, and I'm so happy to be out of the country when something like this is brewing up. But at the same time, I really wish I could be that person that wants to be at the front lines and wants to initiate the change in their community that helps make it theirs. I don't know, but that's not what I want. I just can't see myself in that position. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it feels like nothing here belongs to me, and that's this giant hurdle that I don't know how to get over. I picture two very different variations of my life. One where I have this awesome 19th century apartment with beautiful molding in central Copenhagen, and then another version of my life where I get this apartment in a brick sixplex with a balcony and a view of a tree-lined street of craftsman houses in Kansas City. I don't know, I just feel like I have more ownership even over the idea of having an apartment in Kansas City that I own and that I have my things in, and it's really confusing. I have no stake here. And I know that ownership is built over time, and it's also such a stupid idea, honestly. How can you ever own anything or any people or anything like that? But at least today, I just can't imagine having ownership over Paris, it's too big. Like, everyone already owns everything. I don't know what there is for me to do to make myself belong here. And I feel like in America I could have so much to say, and I do have so much to say, and I feel like my voice and my actions actually do something, and like I feel like society there actually is worth changing, and I don't know what my purpose is here. See, it all kind of connected, I guess. Of course, like a lot of these feelings are just arising because I am alone right now, and all my friends from study abroad have gone back to their countries they're from. I'm in Ryan's apartment and he's in Japan. Yeah, I like have been going out of my way to meet people and make friends, but I have felt like so incredibly alone. But it's really just a mental game, because I don't know if any of you are watching, and just like that, the Sex and the City reboot spin-off thing, it's getting so much hate on TikTok, which is unwarranted. Like, it's genuinely good. There's some woke shit, sure, but just get past that. It's really good. Anyways, it got canceled and the last episode just came out, and at the end, okay, so Big has died, Carrie got back with Aiden, and then she left Aiden, and then at the end she's like just talking about how alone she feels and how you can never go home. She can't go back to her old apartment, which this is exactly how I feel. Like, it would feel so embarrassing to go home after all these years of saying like, this is where I want to be. So me and Carrie Bradshaw, both alone, both feeling like we can never go back home. But then at the end, she's sitting there in her window, writing on her computer. I don't know why I'm making this motion. She's writing on her computer, and the last line is, what is it? What is it actually like? I need to figure this out. Wait, I wrote it in my journal. It's crazy that 60-year-old Carrie Bradshaw's life is exactly reflecting the very precise emotions that I'm going through right now. Okay, she says, the woman realized she was not alone. She was on her own. And it's literally like such a small shift in vocabulary and such a small shift in mindset. Like, yeah, I was like, yeah, that's the key after all. So while I am feeling like I have no ownership over this vast land and dense city, and I am feeling like such an alien sometimes trying to make friends with foreign peoples, I really do have to be proud of myself for doing all of this on my own and being here on my own. Of course, like with the support of so many friends and my family, like I'm very fortunate to be here, but I've done so much on my own that I don't give myself credit for. And so often in my life, I feel like I don't deserve the things that I actually want. I don't know why it is, but I just like, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't know why. Even down to like me applying for jobs right now, and I feel like I'm not good enough for the jobs that I actually want. And I do so much not to help myself get the things I want, because in my head it's like there's someone so much more deserving than you. And I don't think that's true. Like, I think surely everyone's sort of at an even playing field, and also I do deserve things, and there's no reason why I don't, but I'm so stuck on this idea. Well, I'm having realizations, because maybe I'm just stuck on the idea that like Ronald Reagan said, you can live in France, but you can never become a Frenchman. And I don't really want to become a Frenchman, but maybe the idea of becoming a Frenchman or like belonging to somewhere foreign doesn't actually require some written acceptance. It just requires the act of like showing up every day and doing it. Like, what differentiates me as someone who is actively trying to make friends and trying to find a job and trying to find a purpose? What makes me different from someone who was born here and is trying to do it? I don't know. It's really a strange thought. And I feel like it's hard to really tap into what I'm feeling without having been through it. No offense, like, I just don't think that a lot of people go through this, and I don't know who I can talk about this with. Like, it's a really niche feeling, I don't know. So yeah, I'm really trying to not limit myself, I guess, but I've been going through this internal battle of, do I just need to go home and try to figure things out at home? Or is this really the right path for me to stay here and be sort of forced to work it out. I don't think there is a correct path really, but the one thing I do know is that in Paris and in Copenhagen is where I feel the most inspired. Honestly, let's just be honest, like honestly it's mostly Copenhagen. Paris and I kind of haven't been getting along so great recently. Like the idea, I can picture like the coastlines in Denmark, and like something about that just resonates with me. Something about being on a bike and smelling the salt in the air, like, whew, girl, no. Yeah, that's what inspires me. And it also feels like the land of infinite opportunity, and that's just not a feeling I get when I'm at home in Kansas City. I feel like at home I run into a lot of dead ends, and I know that when I'm there I really wish I wasn't. But I do miss it. I miss it so much. And I think as I get older and as I grow and mature, like I'm just realizing that there's no reason to be ashamed of where I come from. And honestly, I think it would make my life a lot easier here if I just kind of leaned into the, oh, like, I'm just a Midwest American, like, I don't know, I think people would show me grace. And maybe I wouldn't feel like I was dividing myself between so many places if I just was like, yeah, I am a Midwesterner and I am here. What the fuck do you have to say about it? But I just miss home. And post-grad is so confusing, like, I never get homesick, but I have nothing grounding me post-grad. My life feels like this like game of tetherball, and like the pole is home and the ball like keeps going around, but then the rope, like as it goes around, gets shorter, and then eventually I have to come back to home. But as soon as I get back home, the ball wants to unravel again, and I'm like launched back out into orbit until eventually it all comes back to source. So I'm just sitting here wondering, like, when do I go back to source? I don't know, that's just where I'm at. Honestly, I thought I was gonna turn the camera on and like start crying. So I guess this is a good place to be. I'm still like midway through the experiment of finding out if Mr. Ronald Reagan was right or not. I don't feel like a Frenchman, but I guess only time will tell.